and welcome. I'm Hilary Viner, CEO of Genius 100 Foundation, home of the esteemed Genius 100 Visionaries. On behalf of the entire global Genius 100 Foundation community, I'm delighted to welcome you all from every corner of the world, and space too, to the 2022 Genius 100 Visionary Induction Ceremony for the incomparable, inspirational Goldie Hawn. This annual ceremony is a particularly special occasion for Genius 100, as its origin was a combined celebration of Einstein's birthday and the welcoming of our new visionary each year. The idea of G100 was born to mark the centennial celebration of Einstein's theory of relativity. To honor this landmark occasion, 100 of the world's greatest minds were researched, selected, and nominated to contribute their vision of the future to the publishing of the first ever 3D book, Genius 100 Visions of the Future. This exceptional group became the original G100 Visionaries. This first ever production would not have been possible without 2021 Genius 100 Visionary astronaut Soichi Noguchi. Thanks to him, its initial prototype was produced at the International Space Station in collaboration with NASA and JAXA. For today's ceremony, we are fortunate enough to witness two more first ever events, this time in the form of music. First is the world premiere of the new version of CANTO LLANO 3 that just played in the background, composed by our very own Genius 100 Visionary, Maestro Eduardo Marturet. Then a little later in today's program, we will hear the world premiere of Cool Quartz by Santiago Bonaro, which was specially written for today's induction ceremony and dedicated to Goldie Hawn. Speaking of today's program, we have a wonderful inspirational celebration in store. In addition to the official induction ceremony, many of our Genius 100 Visionaries are participating today to welcome and celebrate the newest member of our community. As the world continues to awaken from the global pandemic, face new challenges, and seek new ways to remain hopeful, we could think of no more deserving or remarkable force of inspiration than Goldie. For almost 20 years, she has focused her energy, resources, and spirit on creating and championing Mind Up, which has helped millions of children around the world. And for that and so many other reasons, we today are celebrating her and her contributions to the betterment of our world. But even more than that, we are here to celebrate the legacy of Genius 100 Visionary and Spiritist, Sir Ken Robinson, and the continuation of his work. For it is through his globally impactful work in education reform, his commitment to our community, and the legacy being carried out by his daughter Kate and her husband Anthony, that Goldie came to us. So to make today even more special, we're inducting Goldie as our first ever Genius 100 Legacy Visionary in honor of Sir Ken Robinson. Now, let's get this show on the road, starting with the story of us. Here is Genius 100.
Wow, what a beautiful video. I wanted to thank you for producing this video. My name is Ido Aharoni, and I'm one of the uh, global ambassadors of the Genius 100 community, and I had a lot to do with its creation. I was asked to welcome Goldie Hawn and Kate Robinson, and of course, express our gratitude for that connection, Kate, and tell you a bit about how it all started, really. I'm speaking from Jerusalem, and it really all started exactly 100 years ago on a barren hill about 10 minutes from where I am, when Albert Einstein, the great Albert Einstein, together with another luminary of his time, you may have heard of him, his name was Sigmund Freud, got together and decided to create a Hebrew university, a university that will be a center of knowledge, that will tackle all the biggest issues of the time. And Albert Einstein not only single-handedly raised all the money for the university, but also served as the first chairman of the board. Now, why is it important? Because when he died in 1955, he left his entire archive to the Hebrew University, 80,000 documents, including some of the most important documents in the history of science. And we decided to really dive into the story of Albert Einstein and try to understand what can we learn from Albert Einstein's own personal story. Because if you think about him, if Albert Einstein, if the kid Albert Einstein showed up today, he'd be probably labeled immediately as as a child that has some challenges and needs some help. He developed his lingual skills relatively late in life, at the age of 4.5. He was not necessarily social, but what made him unique was his ability to understand two things that we believe are the source of inspiration. The first is to use his imagination. Everything that he achieved with no budget, with no organization, with no staff, with no laboratory. He used thought experiments. And the second thing is, which Sir Ken Robinson, the late Sir Ken Robinson, who was such a big part of our community, taught us so brilliantly, is that creativity can be acquired. It's not just a talent. Obviously, if you have the ability to think differently, that's an advantage. But you have to understand that people can actually be inspired to use their own creativity. One of the reasons the TED Talk that Goldie Hawn attended by Sir Ken was so successful because he inspired so many people to believe in themselves. So this is really the essence of Genius 100, to use the fame, the glory, the brilliance of people like Goldie Hawn, of people like Nobel Prize laureates, people like the late Shimon Peres or the late Paul Allen, to try and leave a better world behind us by empowering people in the field of education, in the field of arts. And you will see, Goldie, as you will get to know our community, that we have people from all walks of life, some of them you know personally. So that's my spiel for today. Again, I'd like to welcome Goldie into our community and to profoundly express our gratitude to Kate Robinson for continuing her father's legacy and for making the introduction. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, Goldie. I am so thrilled that you are part of the G100 community. I love all of your work, and especially your work with Mind Up. And I'm really excited about you being part of this incredible global community to make the world better. And a big mazel tov, and I can't wait to see you in person again really soon. So congratulations.
Hello, everyone. My name is Eduardo Marturet. I am the chairman of Libra Group. I'm a very proud member of the G100 community. So Goldie, welcome to the community. I was very profoundly impressed to read about your work with Mind Up. My wife runs an organization called Seleni. I understand how difficult it is to create a mental health focused organization, to destigmatize it, to bring awareness to it. And I always say, it's a general rule in life, the happiest people that I've ever met are those who give more than they take and love what they do. And I think that's almost an embodiment of the G100 community. So welcome, and also thank you for all the work that you've done.
It's such an honor to be here today in this fantastic ceremony for Goldie Hawn. I'm Eduardo Marturet, music director and conductor of Miami Symphony Orchestra. I'm Genius 100 Visionary from 2019. I was inducted here in Miami, where we live, and I was so pleased that astronaut Soichi Noguchi was present at the induction ceremony. With the great Konstantin Batygin, the astronomer on G100 Visionary, I composed Planet 9 for him to play an electric guitar, and then it was recorded and played up in the space station, when Soichi Noguchi was inducted last year, 2021. And it has been really a fabulous journey to be connected with this fantastic community. And I hope that Goldie is going to enjoy it as much as we all do. It's such an honor to have you with us and to be part of it and to have our music and our art and all our experience connected to make a better world where we live now. Thank you.
Every generation has a challenge, and we are facing one of the hardest. Year 2020 and 2021. We will remember that these are tough years for everyone on this planet. We had pandemic. We had many natural disasters. Many people lost their loved ones. Many countries missed important events. We are in huge political and economic instabilities. This is definitely years of perseverance. We know, however, that we shall overcome. Our society was deeply challenged in many ways, but we must move on. People need something to trust, something to cheer about, and something to be proud of. Space exploration is not just for future generations, but also for all of us on this planet today. We will continue to explore outer space to prove that we are resilient. We will prove that the space is open to everyone. Our endeavor to space is always a new gateway to enable new possibilities. With the emerging commercial space program, I feel very honored and humbled to lead this challenge, and I will commit to contribute to realize sustainable society all across this planet. Best days of space exploration are yet to come, and all of you are well deserved to take part in. We will fly to space with pride in the name of resilience. We have power to recover. We will strive to survive. We will cherish empathy in harmony. All for one for all. Soichi Noguchi, astronaut.
The winner is Goldie Hawn.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kurt Russell and Academy Award winner Goldie Hawn.
Miss Goldie Hawn.
Hi, Goldie. Hi, honey. How are you?
Really good.
You are
Really
so unbelievably funny in this movie, The First Wives Club.
Thank you.
Our first guest tonight is an Oscar and Golden Globe winner. Please welcome Goldie Hawn. Hi, Goldie. How are you?
I'm really good, but I really miss walking onto the stage.
What is it about you? Just the mere mention of your name brings a smile. Why is that?
I don't know.
It's a good thing.
It's a really good thing. I think that I deeply do have a real embedded, hardwired sense of joy.
Goldie Jean Hawn grew up happy in the suburbs of Washington, D.C. Her father was a successful band leader. Her mother ran a dance studio. Hawn moved to Los Angeles at 19 years old and quickly danced her way onto the movie screen. before landing the gig in 1968 that made her a star as a regular on the TV hit Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In.
Oh, I don't know what's wrong with me. I keep forgetting things.
Well, how long have you had this problem?
What problem?
I made movies about women that mattered. It really is about regaining your own power, your personal power. But I will say maybe the best that I ever produced, the best thing, is Mind Up. Focus on the importance of mental health and mental fitness for all of us.
Hawn founded Mind Up in 2003 as she began a 15-year break from acting. The organization has built a curriculum for kids, parents, and schools, focusing on the mental health and fitness of children. To date, the courses and now their digital companions have reached more than 7 million children around the world.
Every school should have one mental health program, preventative program, which is what Mind Up is, in classrooms, everywhere in America. There is no question why we can't teach brain science and these kids have some agency over their own brain by understanding how their brain works, because we ask them to use it and we ask them to learn, and they can't access the very thing that can help them learn until they understand how it works. The great Sir Ken, many, many, many years ago, I was at TED. It was when he did that very, very famous talk that just blew my mind. But then when I met him and I sat and I listened to him, it changed so much of my life, because when he speaks about creativity and he speaks about the classroom, I was one of those little girls. He cared very much. He was extraordinarily funny and a great human who spent his whole life looking after those of us who were different. If only we would be able to have this kind of mindset in our education system. I will always follow his dream. Imagine if. So I brought in neuroscientists, I brought in teachers, I brought in positive psychology, I brought in practitioners. And I said, let's create a holistic program, a foundational program, not one that just focuses on empathy, not one that just focuses on kindness, not one that just focuses on mindfulness, but one that basically starts from the beginning, which is the human brain. I love children so much because they are going to be the leaders of tomorrow, the parents of tomorrow. And if we don't build and focus on their well-being and their health and their mental stability leading to their physical health, we're not doing our job as the adults of today.
When talking with Kate many months ago, we happened to ask her who she thought her father had high regard and respect for that could carry on his work within the Genius 100. And she answered without a beat, it would be Goldie Hawn. Kate Robinson is the Chief Legacy Officer and co-founder with her husband Anthony Dunn of Sir Ken Robinson Legacy Collective Fund, co-author of Sir Ken's manifesto, Imagine If, Creating a Future for Us All, and Genius 100 partner with the Legacy campaign being launched today. Goldie Hawn was selected as the 2022 Genius 100 Visionary for establishing Mind Up, the signature program of her foundation. Since its founding almost 20 years ago, Mind Up has served over 6 million children all over the world, from Australia to Canada to Hong Kong, Israel, UK, and the US, and other countries all over the world. I would like to proudly welcome Kate Robinson and Goldie Hawn.
Hi, Goldie. Hi, sweetheart.
Hi.
How are
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, honey. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Wonderful.
It's so lovely to see you.
It's great to see you, and it's great to bring Sir Ken into our rooms, right? Because he was just one of the most important people in my life, in the career, certainly in education. So thank you for this, sweetie.
Oh, no, thank you. I wanted to ask, as you said in that video, that you were in the room for the TED Talk. And was that the first time that you came across Dad and his work?
Yes.
Was it?
First time I came across his work, and also his indelible personality, and talk about joy. I mean, he was the king of joy, right? And I know when we got together, we sort of we noticed each other, we recognized each other.
Like kindred spirits.
Really, truly. And so, we would have dinner because he didn't live far from here, from where I live. So we would get together and have dinner together, and Mom, and have such a great time. And it was one of those special times. It wasn't just another dinner. I mean, he was just so full of life and love and information and curiosity. I mean, yeah, so I'm just so honored, sweetheart. I really am. He was one of a kind. He still exists in my heart anyway. So I never like to say was. He's just here.
No, he's here. And what Hillary said is true. When they asked who I thought, Dad would have wanted to fill his seat in the Genius 100 community, there wasn't a sort of momentary beat, really. It was obvious that it had to be you. Because, obviously he sat on the board of MindUp, but he had such a respect for you and for the work that MindUp is doing. I just think he would be, as you say, I feel like he is with us here today, but I think he would be so proud to know that you're stepping into his seat, and you're the only person I think you could have done it.
Well, I'll tell you, thank you very much. That's a huge compliment. He was my guru, as well.
What was it then about his work that resonated with you so much, about his message?
Well, one of his message, of course, in creation and understanding the way children learn, and how he basically manifested it and shared it with everyone. And it was a great passion of his, okay? And he was like so not wrong about his perspective about what our children need in order to flourish, So, but also the connection and the identification with like-mindedness, which was, two people sitting together going, children matter. Our education system matters. And the fact that it's an antiquated system, and that we need to really upgrade it with a way for the human being, not just the idea of ABC and English and all these wonderful programs, but until you really give the child the opportunity to think, to learn. And our modality of MindUp, of course, was to let them understand how to center themselves, ground themselves, learn about their brain, and so forth. We were sort of a perfect little union, because I went through it one way, but his explanation of creativity also connected to neurology and neurobiology was just a perfect match, I mean, you know what it's like when you meet someone that you really bind ourselves with and really create that relationship, because we know what each other's thinking. So, so this today is a really wonderful day. It's a very warm day for me, because I am honored to be here, but I'm also honored to have known your father very well.
Thank you. And you're right, we came across his core mission statement, which was to encourage the conversation around a richer conception of human intelligence. This idea that we're only using a fragment of our brains, we've sort of limited, particularly in our education systems. But I think across societies in general, we've really limited our understanding of intelligence and what we can achieve. And you use the phrase with MindUp, and I should say I'm, by total coincidence, but so lucky that my daughter Adeline, who's 4, goes to a school that has a MindUp program. So she's doing brain breaks every single day at school and coming home, which is just incredible. So I'm seeing it firsthand that way. But where did MindUp come from? Where did this passion for you come from? And also to add to that as well, you talk with this phrase that I just love with MindUp. You talk about mental fitness, as opposed to mental health, which sort of implies that, it's either good or it's not, but mental fitness is something you can work on. So I would love to know where this passion started with you.
Right. Well, first of all, it goes way back, but ultimately my philanthropy has always been for children happiness, their well-being. And that's sort of how I had a personal experience with that. But I also went through my own sort of difficulty when I was a young child. And I was very afraid of the bomb, and it just was a movie that I saw in the downstairs when we went into the visual aids area. And I thought it was going to be just kind of a movie on like corn and everything in Kansas, but actually it was really about the atom bomb and what would happen if there was an enemy attack. So when I saw that, I started shaking because it was just panning all of this devastation and blood and children crying and whatever. And I was a very happy child, but I literally was shaking. And I said to the teacher, I have to go home for lunch. I needed to talk to my mom because I knew we were all going to die. Right. So when you experience these things as a child, right? And it also stayed with me, even though mommy came home, she tried to share everything with me. I really, anytime I heard a siren or anything. So I had my own sort of little traumatic experiences. And then when I was 11 years old, people would ask me what I wanted to be. And I basically said happy. And you don't want to be a ballet dancer? Because I was a ballet dancer, you know. But I said, no, and I thought, what an interesting thing for a child to say, even as I look back on that I wanted to be happy. So the reason was that I think during this Cold War period, I was very unhappy. When I got to become more successful as my life went forward, I also had a bit of an anxiety issue around panic attacks, which came out of nowhere, except that I was beginning to leave my dancing career and move into another career, which I wasn't ready for in my own mind. So all these things that happened actually added up to me going to psychologists. And I was there for about 8 years. And the reason I was there is because I was learning about my brain. I was learning about my thoughts, about my psychology, about, all the different aspects. And I wanted to really get there and get a great understanding. And then I started doing a meditation practice, which actually changed a lot of my anxiety. It changed a lot of things. And I found sort of the sense of my happiness. I could just feel it inside of me. And it was really wonderful and very profound. And then as time went on, I started learning about the brain. Well, when 9/11 happened, that's what started me thinking. These children have got to have a practice of some kind that is going to help them reduce their anxiety, because I thought the world had really changed forever at that point. And so what I did was I created MindUp. And I did it because I wanted a program that actually was going to go into schools, and mind you, social emotional learning, all of this stuff wasn't anything I was following because I didn't really know about it. So when you say, okay, I want children to have more mental fitness. I want them to be able to recognize and reduce their stress level. And if we're doing it in the universities and we're proving that certain things work in a petri dish, why aren't we taking this out and teaching every child about their brain and giving them these various things that they can use in order to use it appropriately for their well-being? So that's when I started. And, I didn't go out till it was researched, because I didn't want to go out and say, oh, here's a program, it's wonderful, but I wanted really hard quantitative research. So we did that first. And it was so powerful and so great for these kids that I went out and I said, that's it. So I got in my race car and I went out and I got into schools and we did this, and it went viral up in Vancouver, which is where I ultimately started. And then it's been just growing. It's been growing, like it's almost as if my wish was to have every child in the world to have this, to change the way people relate to each other, to take the reactivity and the anger and all these things out. Not that we don't have anger, we normally do, we're humans, but how to manage it, how to self-regulate. And then they become their own advocates, their own agency over their own brain, their own behavior, and have modalities in which they can use in order to make themselves feel better and think better and have better critical thinking. So that's why I did it. And then when I saw the research on it, I went, oh my God, this is so important, right? So that was sort of my excitement around something totally new. I mean, no one was doing brain. No one was putting what I call brain breaks in the classroom, and we do 3 times a day. Mm-hmm. No one was putting all these things together in one bucket. And that's when I thought, well, you got guts, Goldie. You got guts. And you did something that, I mean, and I'm not an educator, but I certainly taught dancing, and I was a communicator, but never that. So that's why it had to be researched, because I wanted to make sure that it wasn't like just some movie star going out and doing something. Oh, you know, her charity. This is my life.
The impact it's having, you know, the real, I mean, as I say, I see it in our own life with our daughter, who's very fortunate to be at a school that has a Mind Up program. But, you know, you mentioned the Cold War and then 9/11, and we're going through similar type things now with our children in schools. You know, there is never going to be a time, it's human nature, it's the way of the world that this isn't so important, which is why I am so happy that you are filling in Dad's seat as part of the Genius 100 community. It's just incredible. And it is so thank you so much, Goldie. It is my pleasure now to introduce Helen Hatzis, who is the incredible community Chief Community Officer for Genius 100, who has put all of this and so much else together. So Helen, over to you, and thank you so much, Goldie.
Hello, everyone. So I'm here to talk about what is a visionary. To provide some context, by definition, a visionary derives from the Latin root vis, which is commonly used in words that mean or involve the ability to see. So according to Oxford Dictionary, a visionary is about planning the future with imagination or wisdom. And this definition is in perfect alignment with the guiding principles of Genius 100, which are imagination, partnership, and inspiration. So what is a Genius 100 visionary? It is a person who not only exemplifies, but also demonstrates that imagination is unlimited and creativity changes the world. Partnership and collaboration are stronger than any individual effort. Inspiration is to encourage and foster creativity that leads to impactful change locally and globally. And with that in mind, we tasked each visionary to share their vision of the future in no more than 250 words, and that was no easy task, but each one profound in their own right. Earlier, you heard Soichi Noguchi's vision whilst he was aboard the International Space Station, and in a moment you will hear a reading from the late Sir Ken Robinson. And later in the program, Goldie's will be discussed. So without further ado, I give you Sir Ken's vision statement.
For our children to thrive now and in the future, we have to reimagine education.
Imagination and creativity are at the root of every uniquely human achievement. Poignantly, they have now brought us to a critical pass.
Our appetites are straining the Earth's capacity to sustain us, and our attempts to force it to do so are fueling a holocaust of other species. Our technologies are evolving exponentially, but spiritually and emotionally, we're not keeping pace.
To meet these existential challenges, we have to harness our creativity to a more sustainable vision of the lives we hope to lead. Mass systems of education are based on conformity, standardization, and competition, and they are failing us badly.
Our children urgently need forms of education based on diversity, creativity, and collaboration.
Diversity. Human capacities are stunningly diverse, which is why human accomplishments are so breathtakingly multifarious. Rather than focus on a particular forms of academic ability, education should cultivate and celebrate this diversity.
Creativity. Einstein said that imagination is more important than knowledge. He did not mean that fantasy is more important than facts, but that the boundaries of knowledge are constantly reset by bold visions and transcendent questions.
Collaboration. We are social creatures. Every civilization is built on a fragile ecology of ideas, systems, and expertise, only a fraction of which any one of us can understand. As Einstein puts it, the aim of education must be the training of independently acting and thinking individuals who see in the service of the community their highest life problem.
Around us and within us, we all have the resources that we need to be able to meet the challenges that we face.
The only way to develop and focus these resources is
through forms of education that reconnect us with the natural world of which we are part, and the deeper qualities that make us who we are.
Cold reason is not enough. As Einstein noted, we've learned by painful experience that rational thinking does not suffice to solve the problems of our social life.
The lesson we most need to learn is that there's more to life on earth than human beings. And there's more to being human than self-interest.
Our futures all depend on learning this lesson by heart.
Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. And I'd like to welcome Goldie here. And as part of the Genius 100 cohort since its first year in 2017, and a representative of the Genius 100 Foundation, I would like to welcome everyone to this incredibly wonderful day with Goldie, our official visionary induction, an exceptional human being, a globally significant pioneer in bettering the lives of children around the world, and the first Genius 100 Legacy Visionary, Goldie Hawn. Woohoo! I want like all the cheering that would happen if we were all together, which I wish we were. It's so good to see you, Goldie. Goldie and I, hi. We first connected because we have a shared passion. I make films about neuroscience and want to share the science as far and wide, and especially to young people, to empower them to have agency, to know how their brain works and how they can help aid it in life. So I love the work that you do, Goldie, and I feel like we really have a shared passion in this. And I'm so excited that you're like officially in mishpacha, which is Yiddish for family, which is what this feels like.
It's really great. I just wish that my mother and father were alive. You know, they would love it.
They're here. You know, I was saying to Kate, they're here. They're here right now.
I have a new mishpacha now.
They're cavelling from heaven. They're so proud. My dad, Kate's dad, Ken's here. Your parents are here.
Everybody, exactly.
Okay, so this is like, we're gonna get official, but first I'm so happy to see you and that this is happening. And just to give everyone a little bit of background, the Genius 100 Foundation brings together visionaries, philanthropic impact investors, and its extended global community to reimagine the future and implement creative initiatives to improve the world. And together we can make the impossible possible. We're comprised of global leaders, activists, innovators, influencers, Nobel laureates, astronauts, Olympians, no pressure anyone, knights, world chess champions, and Pulitzer Prize winners. They're all in the house and can make a lot of good happen together. Since the founding of Genius 100 and with the passage of time, a few members of our incredible community have become genius inspiratus. They have passed, but they are with us here today also. The Honorable Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Paul Allen, Thich Nhat Hanh, and Nobel Prize laureates Shimon Peres and Harold Kroto, and our mutual dear friend, Sir Ken Robinson. And now it is my tremendous honor as a representative of the entire community to induct you, Goldie Hawn, as our first Genius 100 Legacy Visionary in honor of Sir Ken Robinson. If you are ready, Goldie, we're going to make this official language. Okay, it feels like we're about to get married, which I kind of like too. Do you, Goldie Hawn, in good faith and with global understanding, intend and endeavor to take your place as a Genius 100 Visionary?
I do, with great joy in my heart, yeah.
Excellent. Do you, Goldie Hawn, understand and comply with the Genius 100 mission that states we leverage the knowledge and resources of the G100 community to support impactful humanitarian and environmental initiatives through collaboration and funding structure?
I do.
I do. Do you, Goldie Hawn, align with the Genius 100 Foundation vision that states that we bring together accomplished, compassionate minds to reimagine the future and improve our world?
I do.
This is so beautiful. Okay. As a Genius 100 Visionary myself and a representative of the Genius 100 Foundation, and on behalf of your fellow esteemed community, it is my privilege to confirm that you, Goldie Hawn, are now a G100 Visionary. Congratulations, Mazel Tov, we have made it official, and now we can unveil your inclusion on the G100 Wall of Visionaries.
Oh, that's such an honor, honey. Thank you.
Mm. And then now we need like the drum roll. I always wish I had a live band here on my Zooms. Okay, here
I know.
Here we go. Woohoo! I'm gonna cheer for everybody that's cheering in their Zoom room. Woohoo! Goldie's in the house officially. Okay. Okay.
This is great. This is great.
So great. It's okay. So we're officially committed now all together. And when I wrote my statement, it was in 2017. It was like a great creative challenge to like squeeze everything I want to do in the world to 250 words. And I would like to ask you to share with us some of the ideas that you want to infuse in those 250 words for your vision statement.
Well, I'm focused on basically right now creating greater mental health and stability and fitness for children, also for teachers, and also for parents. So I have basically moved not from, but with, and added on to what we can do to help others raise healthier families, that be able to take basically the teaching job and make it okay. We're losing our teachers today. So we have just been hit with so many obstacles right now. And before, our children were suffering even well before 9/11, right? Now we have a serious epidemic of mental health challenges for our children, too many suicides and so forth. So in my life, this seems to be where I'm going. It's my ethos. It's where I am definitely moving to the rest of my life, is to be able to globally see that all children, and it's a big honking dream, and it was when I had it, when I was in my room, my meditation room in Vancouver, I dreamed, I prayed, it came to me, if every child in the world could have an ability to manage their emotions, to reduce their stress, to learn about their brain, to think differently. So we could create leadership that literally could see a problem from 100,000 feet up, that we could create leadership with parents that would actually have enough understanding to know how to raise their child appropriately, how to love them appropriately. These are not difficult things. They are really about how and why and what are the causes for happiness. And if we can actually look at happiness as a goal, if we will, then we know there is a road to it. And one of them is to understand yourself. Another one is to have empathy for others and be able to do this. Some children don't naturally have empathy, but it is teachable. So all of these teachable things that we think, oh, that's just the way I am. The brain is plastic. It is able to actually adapt and learn and change. And how we change our neurons and how we feed them every day with positivity and ways of thinking, we actually will create a chain of connections to ultimately create something that's a little bit more consistent in their lifetime, a default, if you will. So that's, you're right. It's hard to say your dream. It's a big dream. And I thought I would never, ever have children in Saudi Arabia. I would never be able to have children, be able to look at how to do this, the languages, the things, there's so many barriers. And we can. And I think the idea of giving our children the idea that they can, they're not just born that way. They have agency over how they want to be and change. So I just hope that that this program and programs like them, okay, so it isn't just my program.
Right.
It's leading the way, it's trailblazing, it's fearless. But if we could all have that ability to know who we are enough to be less afraid of being all that we can be. And this is how I look at how education must change all over the world. Every education, every classroom should have mental health preventative practices inside.
Absolutely. I mean, yes, it needs to be as important as people are learning how to read, and math and science needs to be the science of your own brain and how to best use your brain. I'm so excited first to read your 250 words. I'm excited that you're going to write it, because as we all know, when you write it and you put it out there, you get closer to making it happen. So I'm just absolutely thrilled to be here with you today. And I look forward to, we do have in-person gatherings, which are amazing. I look forward to that. And I want to welcome back Eduardo, a fellow visionary here, who will share something special that he's created for you. And again, congratulations, Goldie.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you, Tiffany. What an honor again. Well, this music you're going to hear now was composed especially for Goldie Hawn and Mind Up by Dr. Santiago Bonora. Cool chords. It's precisely for mind fitness. He was so inspired by the Mind Up Foundation, what you've done, Goldie, that he created this music. He's very much connected to neuroscience, and it's a tool to help kids and grown-ups to make their mind more healthy. It's just awesome. I think we can hear some of it now because it's just so special. It's more than music, there are sounds which are very healthy. I'd like now to have Helen Hatzis back with us to continue with this fabulous program. Thank you, Goldie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eduardo. Hi, Goldie.
Hi.
So lovely to see you. I have a few questions that come from our community that I'd like to share with you so that we can learn a little bit more about you and, of course, about Mind Up. So the first question is, what is it about mindfulness that connects to the core of your being?
I've been asked that question before, and it's a good one because you wonder why you're attracted to certain aspects of life, right? But I was a ballet dancer. I started at the age of 3. And what I learned so much about dance is that it's a connection between your brain and your body. And in order to actually do many things in dance is to find your center. Mm-hmm. If you have no center, you can't dance. You fall over, you trip over yourself, you can't turn very well. So there was an exercise in mindfulness. And I never realized that until later, much later, to know that I dropped into, for instance, my meditation and my contemplative time much easier because I was able to really understand the focus of one thing. Focus my arm or focus my belly and holding my core. All those things actually are precursor to what it is to become more mindful. And then mindfulness actually, when it first started happening, was when I started meditating back in 72, is that I suddenly felt this unbelievable explosion of joy. And it was the first time because I felt my heart, I felt my heart energy. I was able to really connect inside of me. It wasn't outside of me, right? It was all internal. And that was another aspect of mindfulness. At the end of the day, mindfulness is a way of life. Mind up is a way of life. And that's what we have to look at, is mindfulness is not just one thing. It's actually a holistic look at your choices that you make and the experiences that you have and the positivity that you focus on so you can actually have better outcome. So that's basically what it means to me and how I feel connected to the whole concept.
Absolutely, that's beautiful. And thank you for sharing that. So before children, because you work with children, but before they even enter the school system, what can parents do to support their child's mental health and well-being?
Well, that's also a very good question. I'm certainly not a psychologist, so I can't go into the psychology, but I've had enough children and I also know a little bit about it, not to be dangerous. But I think there's one simple word, but also the word holds a lot, okay, and that's love. You know, our children need focused on, they need to have an ear. It's very important you listen to your children. It's important to guide them. And it's also important to give them boundaries. Don't want to be the parent that's the fun liked all the time. Sometimes we've got to be strong. And sometimes we have to say, no, you're not going to play that game right now. The other day, my granddaughter was there. She's 3.5. She's an amazing, vibrant, young, very normal child, right? But she wanted me to get a game on my phone. And I said, no, because I want to be with you, right? I want to be with you. That's why I don't want you to have the phone. And she got around to understanding that. But a no is okay. But be there to say no. So it isn't as much necessarily as always being in their face all the time. But it is about listening and being there for them when they need it. And don't talk over them. They have to be heard. So, and of course, loving nature, that's the greatest thing you can ever give a child, is your love.
Absolutely. And I heard in an interview, just touching on what you just said, like no is okay, but saying, you mentioned a while ago, saying that, yeah, no is okay, but no with an explanation and not just a no, you know, to explain to them why you're saying no. Yeah. So from your vast experience with Mind Up, what are you most proud of, and what do we have, like, or what do we have to look forward to that you're currently working on with Mind Up?
So what I'm currently working on right now is that we're working on refining our teacher program. So we have, one of the big focuses for me right now, because I've been focusing on children, and we have this program for teachers to take and become accredited and go into schools and so forth. And that's a great, refined, beautiful program for the last 20 years. Right now, we're focusing on educators, because our educators are so, like I said, they're starting to leave the force, and we need them. And so what's happening is that they don't have programs themselves. It's always for the children. So now we have our program that we're working on, which is teacher well-being. And now they get to learn. Now, when they take Mind Up, they actually experience all of that with the children right after they are teaching it. But for them, it's important to do that. So that's a big project right now. And the other project that we're doing is we are working on animation for all of our program for the younger years. So our lessons will be animated as well. And so we're looking into media, and we're creating an app, a Mind Up app.
Wow.
So there are a lot of things in the hopper right now. And it's an exciting creative time, Yeah. So it's really great. And I'm excited about the translations, because we're in Jordan now. So we're now in our Arabic countries, and we are getting basically a translation in Arabic. So that's the other part, which is I want Cantonese, I want, and we are getting translated as well in Shanghai. We have a huge partnership with schools there. So we have Mind Up there, and we're going to be doing our translations there. So I'm I'm excited about the growth of Mind Up. It's really growing. And what's interesting is that I'm doing, in the rest of the world, I'm not doing any marketing, not by choice, but it's, you know, ultimately, whether it's online, and we're doing a lot of things with Edmodo and school programming, you know, but it's unbelievable that without a lot of that, that shows you how much needed it is. Our children are just are such need, and our parents as well. So we have a parent program as well. So, and we have now experts talking on our line. We have experts in mindfulness, experts in breathing, experts in food, experts in various areas in which for parenting and young children, we have doctors that are coming on and speaking about a lot of things. So I'm excited about the University of Mind Up, you know, and I would say university because it's happening. It's just happening. And you know, so that's exciting. Lots of projects, lots of projects.
That is incredible. It's overwhelming, the amount of work that you've done since the time when you started. It's incredible. So Goldie, thank you on behalf of the entire G100 community, your new extended family. We welcome you. Yay.
It's wonderful, sweetheart. I'm really happy to be joining, and I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of the members. It will be a great, great day when I do.
Well,
so
it will be. Yeah. So we welcome you, obviously, with big open arms, and you know, we look forward to working with you and, you know, really exploring the exceptional work that you've been doing with Mind Up in greater depth. So thank you on behalf of all of us for all that you do. And before I bring Kate Robinson back on, is there anything else you'd like to share?
There's a lot to share, but it's a lot of what I want and what I dream for children, and also for the program. So there are a lot of things that I can't wait. For instance, when children will be able to communicate with each other, and teachers will be able to communicate with each other. We're building all of that online. So it's a, you know, we did all of this very analog-y before. We go to the schools and so forth, but now that we're online, you know, which is mindup.org, it's Mind Up for Life now. And we have all these categories now for people to actually learn from and be a part of. So yeah, I've had the Mind Up family over here, and then I have the Genius 100 family over there. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It was such a pleasure chatting with you, and welcome again to the community. And we look forward to having many more conversations with you.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. Okay, and I would like to welcome Kate Robinson and Remy Kleiman.
Hi, Kate. How you doing?
Hi, Remy. How you doing?
Hi. And so the conversation that we wanted to have is between the two of you. How are we going to take the great legacy of your late father and make it into something that every person that matters knows about? And how can we mobilize people to action? So if you can tell us about your plans, and then we'll hear about the connection with Genius 100 from Rami.
Sure, I'd love to. I think, you know, for me personally, it always would have been devastating and tragic to have my father pass away. But certainly I feel like one of the greatest tragedies of it is that there's never been a more important time for his message. You know, as Goldie touched on with mental fitness and what children are going through now, you know, we're at a critical pass as a species. We're at a crossroads where we've come to a point that we can't continue down this road any further. You know, we're stripping the earth of its natural resources. We're stripping ourselves of our diversity of passions and talents that our cultures depend upon to thrive. And there are so many children out there, you know, Goldie was one of them, I was one of them, who needed to hear that message that it's not them who are broken, but it's the system, you know, and that there is so much more to life, there is so much more to intelligence, to potential. And actually, you know, while my dad's work was a huge criticism of a lot of the systems that we've created, it was at its core, it was a love letter to human potential. It was, what can we achieve as a species if we can create the conditions for each and every one of us to thrive? And so that's where the core of our legacy work lies. I think a lot of it is bringing together the people who are part of the movement that he helped to inspire. And it's about empowering each and every one of us to recognize that, you know, we create the worlds in which we live as a species. You know, we don't live in the world as we find it. We create our worlds, and we do this through our incredible powers of imagination. And because we can do that, we can always recreate the world, and we need to. So that's the heart of the legacy work. And it's, you know, I think so much that overlaps with the Genius 100 core message.
Yeah, Rami, what on the side of Genius 100, where do you see the synergy and how do we develop a joint program?
I think that the synergy is really embedded in the DNA. We all come from the same DNA, which we understand that we've been giving a gift. You know, each one of us is our spirit and our imagination. And we're living in a world that, constantly promote challenges, but not driven solution. And if Goldie spoke before about mental fitness, I think that we need to talk about imagination driven. And in order to fuel your imagination, you need to be inspired. And previous on in one of the discussion also and the video, I heard Goldie saying that, when she met Sir Ken, she felt he's talking about, the child that she was. And the same thing happened to me when I met Sir Ken in Montreal for the first time. I felt that he's talking about my life story. And when we got the call from Kate after the very sad passing of Sir Ken, I knew that it's something that, we have to take a leading role, Genius 100, and we need to be proactive in helping Kate and Anthony and the rest of the family to keep this spirit and to keep the inspiration going. We cannot see this flame being, reduced. It has to grow. It has to continue. The movement have to grow. And I think the Genius 100 in the very, very unique composition that we have in offering a platform and a catalyst that's bring all the colors of the rainbow, all the best brains in the world can help this happen. And we will work together, and we are working together already in order to grow this vision, in order to provide the tools, in order to bring the expert, and to make everything possible in order that Kate and Anthony will succeed growing this community, because this cannot be stopped. This has to grow. This has to take over. And with people like Goldie and what she does, and Minds Up, I see the vision becoming brighter, because we're living in a world that's the system know how to describe the problems but don't offer solution. And growing up with learning disability, I knew that my only salvation is my own imagination. If I'm not going to imagine how I'm going to navigate in this dark, unclear future, nobody will be able to do it for me. But I think that today we have enough that we can help many others understand how to fuel their imagination through inspiration.
And so I understand that there's a specific project that is being discussed titled Imagine If. Can you guys tell us a little bit about it? Why don't we start with you, Kate?
Yeah, so we're working in general on Dad's legacy together, which, is just incredible to be doing this with the support of Genius 100 Foundation. Imagine If has come about because it is, I said about how we imagine the worlds in which we live and we can reimagine them. Imagine If really is a provocation to do just that. So we have an annual event that takes place every year on my father's birthday, March 4th. And we're working with Rami and Helen and Hillary and the incredible team at Genius 100 and creating that into a bigger year-round celebration of human potential, of imagination and creativity, as well as building a platform that will really pull the community together and empower each and every person to take a leading role in changing the world for the better. Did I miss anything, Rami?
No, I think that we're also going to create an opportunity for people that's passionate around certain issue, environment, water, everything, to bring the imagination. Imagine if water, imagine if environment, and through this you'll be surprised to see how much change we can bring into the world in a positive way, and make people celebrate themselves and not only and celebrate their achievement and not only their failure.
Yeah, and I see the synergy with so many other visionaries and people that are part of our community. We just heard earlier today from George Logothetis, whom I know that is going to click with the Sir Ken Robinson Legacy Project and with Mind Up, because that's right up his alley, and I'm sure that this is going to happen, and the the outcome will be really profound. And with that, I'd like to turn this over back to you, Hillary, and I think that we're ready to conclude the program, if I'm not mistaken.
Thank you, Ido, Rami, Kate, Tiffany, Maestro, and especially Goldie. I can't believe the 2022 ceremony is already coming to a close. I hope you're as filled with joy and inspiration as I am. To support the launch of the G100 Legacy campaign, we have received a $50,000 gift from Libra Social. As part of our ongoing fundraising efforts, we have a very special gift with donations. For any contributions to Genius 100 Foundation, you will receive a private link to stream both pieces of the original world premiere music from today's ceremony. So please go to genius100visions.com. On behalf of our entire Genius 100 global team, we want to thank you again for being here today. We owe a special thank you to our producer, Jeff Ridout, who always makes genius look genius. And last but certainly not least, the ceremony today could not have happened without the tireless, always-on efforts of our Chief Community Officer, Helen Hatzis. Thank you, Helen. And thank you again for supporting Genius 100 Foundation. Bye for now.